Okay, so if anyone watched my last video, you will know that I was really stressed out with the filming, and my phone kept falling over, and it was an ordeal. My brother actually watched that video and he surprised me with a tripod. I'm so happy, literally. Which means my phone is not going to be falling over and flying all over the place, and I can actually have it level because it has a thing on there to show me when it's level. I'm so happy. And I literally have a remote control to start and stop the recording. If it's not broken. Let me test it. It still works. Got my sandwich, I've got my iced coffee. We're ready to rumble. Hey guys, so today's video is one that I've been planning for a really long time. I've actually been wanting to film this video for about 2 years, but I just didn't have content ideas, I didn't have the creativity, and I was a bit of a mess in my own brain. I wasn't really one that should be giving out advice. But I'm in a much better place now, and I'm finally in a place where I feel like I can help people with some of the advice that I wish I could have known a few years ago, so I'm here to help. So today we're going to be talking about kind of relationships, marriage, all things to do with that stuff. A bunch of you have sent me questions and I literally have like 4 pages of questions to go through. So we should probably get started after a bite of my sandwich. Okay, so the first question I got asked was, how do you think of different things to cook? Honestly, you don't. I mean, I'm not the cook in this household. Ollie is really good at cooking and he does most of the dinners. He comes up with most of the ideas. I come up with a lot of different lunch ideas. Lunch is more my forte. But you know how you see all those videos of food and dinner ideas on Instagram and TikTok and everything, and you look at them and you're like, that looks amazing, I really need to try that. And then you just never do. Like recently, I've been trying to actually cook more of the things that I see because it's the same for me. Like I can never think of anything new to cook or anything new to eat. I see all these ideas all the time and I suddenly realised I'm not actually cooking any of them, so why don't I just give them a go? I could maybe do like a recipe video, like different dinner ideas, different things that we cook throughout the week. I could do a what we eat in a week video. Maybe I should write that down. Next question is, did I get cold feet? I didn't. I was like literally not nervous at all, which is so weird because my whole life has been surrounded by anxiety. But I literally was not nervous at all. I was just so excited to get it over and done with, to be honest. We had just been planning it for so long and I'd been so anxious through the whole planning process. So Ollie literally did most of the planning. Like, thank goodness. I was so super anxious throughout the whole process. I just wasn't in a very good place mentally. So honestly, I was just over the moon that the day was finally here and I was like, we can finally just chill. I know that that is quite rare though. Most people do get nervous on their wedding day, obviously, of course. What I would suggest, if you're nervous on your wedding day, you could maybe look back on pictures of both of you together and remember all the good times that you had and just get excited for the fact that you're about to have a day celebrating each other. You're about to have a day celebrating the love that you have between you. You won't even remember how nervous you were. You'll just look back on the pictures and you'll be like, what an amazing day. And if that doesn't work, just remember that it's literally one day. Like the next day you'll either be on your honeymoon or you'll just be a married woman or man and you will be happy and there'll be no more planning to do, no more stressing, no more nerves. It will just be you and your partner and you're sorted. And also have an amazing day. If you're about to get married, have the best day ever and show me pictures. Okay, next question is actually a bit hilarious. How do you make your husband tidy up after himself? Again, you don't. Okay, this next question is one of my favourite questions that I got because it's just so, like, real. If you don't feel physical attraction, how do you know if it's friendship or love? So I did a lot of research to kind of find every basis, every answer that I could find and give you a really in-depth answer which will hopefully help you in some way. Now I just need to remember how it was phrased on the articles because like my notes are very brief. I am chugging this coffee, I need to slow down. So when you see that person, how does your body react Does your heart rate increase? Do you get butterflies? Do you get sweaty palms? If you're just friends with someone, you'll be able to control your emotions and your body reactions a lot easier than if it's real love. But if it is real love, when you see that person, you'll feel uncontrollable nerves, and when you're with them, is your heart racing? Are you talking really rapidly? Are your palms sweating? Like, how is your body reacting? You could also try comparing the relationship that you have with that person with the relationships that you have with your other friends. How is your relationship with that person different than your other friends? Is it different? How do you feel when you spend time apart from that person? Do you just have this longing that you need to be with them? Or is it like with a friend where you can talk to them maybe once a week and you just know that you're there for each other? I would also say just sit down and be really real with yourself. Imagine yourself in a relationship with that person and just ask yourself if that's what you want. Is that really the life that you want to be living? And then chances are, if that's something that you would look forward to and you really want for yourself, you're in love. If it makes you feel kind of uncomfortable and you don't really know how you feel about it, chances are it's just friendship. And I swear it's not coronavirus. One of the articles that I looked at actually had some really, really good advice. It said, with friends, you'll be reminded of them throughout the day. So something will happen and you'll be like, oh, that makes me think of that person. Whereas if it's true love, you literally cannot stop thinking about that person, and everything you do, everything you see, everything you hear reminds you of that person. So ask yourself, how much are you thinking about that person, and in what way are you thinking about that person? That bug is really trying to get in here. Also, I found an interesting point online, and it was basically saying, does this person just fill one of your unfulfilled needs? So maybe if you feel like you're not popular, or you're not attractive, or you're not confident, does that person have that quality that you're missing? Are they crazy popular? Are they crazy attractive? Are they super confident? Maybe being friends with that person or being close to that person helps you feel like that need is fulfilled. So ask yourself, what qualities does that person have that I don't have? Does it make you feel like you need to be with that person to fill that need? Or maybe you could try working on that need for yourself. Maybe get a perspective from someone else that you trust as well. Maybe ask if your body language changes when you're with that person, or how they think the other person feels towards you. Just find as much information as you can. Basically start a little investigation. And if you do ask yourself all these questions and you find out that, yeah, I do actually love this person, then try little things to kind of test the waters a little bit, like using their name or using more eye contact. How does it make you feel when you do those things? Does it feel good? Does it feel uncomfortable? How does it make the other person feel? And then when you get to the point where you feel like you know where you are, just talk to the person, ask them, just be honest. And if they really are your true friend, then nothing much will change. Except if they love you too, and then everything will change in the best way possible. Whew, that was a long question. So next we just have a little bit of advice from one of you guys, and honestly, it's everything. So the advice that you gave was make time for each other. Date nights are a must. I literally could not agree more. I find that in marriage or in like long-term relationships or anything like that, it can be really easy to just settle and kind of stop doing those little things that you started doing at the beginning of the relationship to impress each other. The little things really do matter. Like, never stop buying flowers for your wife or making coffee for your husband. If anyone knows us, like, this is us in a nutshell. The only way that I can put it is just never stop dating. Even when you're married or you've been together for like 8 years, never stop dating. Next question is, how long was I dating for? Okay, so I will confess, I really had to think about this one. Okay, so timeline. Me and Ollie met on December the 5th, 2015. No, I got it wrong already. Let me start again. Okay, so me and Ollie met on the 6th of December 2015. I thought it was the 5th or the 6th. And then after that party, it was like a few months went by where we were just talking non-stop, and we really got to know each other. He was really into psychology and he knew a lot about how the brain works, and I was really struggling with anxiety back at that point. So he really helped me kind of come to terms with everything that I was going through, and everything that I had been going through for years finally made sense. And then we went official and announced it on Instagram and Facebook and all of that jazz in April 2016. And then literally a couple of months later, in June 2016, I moved away, a good 3 hours away from my hometown, just to kind of get a fresh start, get to know myself better. And then about 6 or 7 months later, in January 2017, I moved here to the town that I live in to be closer to Ollie. Then about 10 months later, we got engaged in November 2017. Then about 6 months later, in May on the 19th, we got married. So to sum it all up, we dated for like a year and a half-ish. Then we got engaged, and then we got married 6 months later. Next question is, how do you get over someone you love who's in a relationship? So again, I've never been in this scenario, so I had to do a lot of research. I really wanted to make sure that I was giving correct advice and I wasn't kind of just babbling on in the way that I usually do. First thing I want to say is that it's okay to be upset about that. Some people might say, oh no, you can't be upset about that because they didn't do anything, like it's out of your control. But who says we can't be upset about things that aren't in our control? It's the same as being in a relationship and that's suddenly stopping. Like, you've liked this person for a while and then it's suddenly stopped. So it's hard to just carry on as normal with that. So again, it's okay to be upset. Just don't be angry or upset with that person because they didn't do anything. There's nothing that they could have done about the scenario, unless they could have and they were leading you on in some way or something like that. Then it's okay to be angry with them because that is out of order. I guess the only advice I could give for this is just really work on loving you. Try to just accept it and move on. I know that is ridiculous and it's so much harder than that in real life, but eventually you will get there, I promise you. When you're truly happy with yourself and you're truly confident, you won't care what happens to you. You will always have yourself to fall back on. Also, don't give up. Just because that person maybe is in a different relationship doesn't mean that there's no one else out there that you would get along with. As they say, there's plenty more fish in the sea. Just be open with people. Don't be afraid to let your feelings show. I'm so tired. I need more coffee. I've been filming for such a long time. So next question I've kind of already touched on, but it's, are date nights a good idea? They are absolutely always a good idea. As I said before, just keep it simple. You know, small gestures mean a lot. I know that in marriage you can get kind of lazy. I know that I do definitely. Like, this is the first time I've worn makeup in months. And I literally always live in, I can't lift my leg that high. And I literally always live in my joggers. But when you have a date night at home, that doesn't mean you shouldn't dress up. Dress up as if you're going out, especially at the moment in lockdown. We've done it a couple of times. So our anniversary was actually in May, and obviously we were under lockdown, so we couldn't go out to a restaurant, we couldn't go out for a picnic or anything like that. We were stuck indoors. But we made it cute. We made it as if we were going out for a date, and it kind of showed me that you really can have a really nice date night at home. You don't need to go anywhere special, you don't need anything like that. Just put something nice on, do your makeup and hair nice, or cook a nice meal, or just literally anything. Just always make sure you have date nights with your significant other. It really will brighten up your relationship, and it just makes you feel so good, so confident, and you have the best time with the person that you love. So next is a subject that actually I wanted to touch on. This is my question. And it's, what questions should we ask before we get married? You need to ask each other what you expect from marriage and what your worries and anxieties are. I do wish that we had kind of done this a little bit more before marriage, because I had a very different idea of what marriage was going to be like to what Ollie had. That was partly down to my anxiety. I was so anxious all the time that I had very unique ideas to how I wanted my life to be. My life was basically structured around not being anxious, which sucked because it was like everything I did, it all surrounded my anxiety. Whereas I would much rather just have a really nice year and do all these amazing things with my husband, rather than catering everything for my mental health, you know? There was actually an article that really helped me, and it was all about if I'm ready for marriage and the questions that you need to ask yourself. So I'm going to leave that in description because it really helped me a lot, and it will probably help some of you too. You also need to talk about kind of who's going to have what responsibilities. So who's going to do the majority of the cooking or the cleaning or anything like that. Of course you can share the responsibility, you can do it however you want to, it's totally fine. For me personally though, I really don't enjoy cooking. Whereas Ollie really enjoys cooking, whereas I like cleaning and Ollie hates cleaning. Do you see where I'm going? So before we got married, we discussed that and we kind of were just like, okay, well that's fine, I can clean up after you cook. That's cool. It meant that I didn't have to cook and he didn't have to clean, so best of both worlds. Or if you both really love cooking and you both want that responsibility, then come up with different ways that both of you can contribute to that. Are you going to cook together? Are you going to cook separately on different days for each other? You know, work it out. Also, a massive thing that you need to talk about is whether you want kids or not. And I know that that is really overwhelming before you're even married to be talking about how many children you want, but it is so important because you need to find out if they even want kids. If kids is something that you've been so passionate about for your whole life and you've looked forward to starting your own family, then you're going to be really upset if you marry that person and then you find out that they never ever want kids. It's going to be a real blow. Talk about kind of what ages you want to have kids if you do. How many years do you want between the kids? You know, just talk about everything, talk about your ideal life and get to know each other. Asking all of these questions doesn't only prepare you for getting married and make sure you're compatible, it just really draws you closer because you just get to know each other, you get to know your hopes and your dreams and what you want your life to be like, and it's just really lovely getting to know that person that you're going to spend your life with. Next question was, what side of the bed do I want? This was my mum's question. It was actually a combined question. It was who cooks and cleans and what side of the bed do I want, but I've already answered the cooks and cleans bit, so I like to be furthest away from the door because if a murderer, like, if a murderer breaks in, then like Ollie can protect me. Like, I don't know. I know that some people get really passionate about what side of the bed they want to be on, so like if you're one of those people, that's something you need to talk about before you get married as well. With everything, all the questions that I've asked, you need to be willing to compromise as well. Compromise is so important. Finally, the last question is, how can I be happy as a wife? This goes for husbands as well. It's not just for wives. This is just a general marriage video. The biggest thing for me was comparing myself to other wives and other people that were married. You know, why are they happier than we are? Why is their flat cleaner than mine? Why can they cook better than I can? I cannot tell you how many times I sent myself into a spin and I really put myself in a bad place because I was comparing myself to other people. But if I wasn't comparing myself to those people, I would be doing the same things that they're doing because I wouldn't feel so down about myself. If you're worried about not being good enough for your partner, just remember, they married you. They married you because they love you, they love who you are, they love the way that you think and the way that you do things. Just be yourself. Your only competition is you. The only person that you should be comparing yourself to is yourself. I guess my last tip is just to take time for yourself. Make sure you give yourself time. Even though you're married and you live together, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't allow yourself time by yourself. And you need to allow time for the other person as well, so don't be upset if they need an evening by themselves or if they want a day away on their own. And I really struggled with that as well for a good couple of years. Even while we were just dating, I really struggled with the fact that he didn't want to spend time with me sometimes. And then now I look back and I'm like, it's stupid. Everyone needs time by themselves. Sometimes I just need an evening, a girly evening with girly films and a hot bath, something like that, just something to pamper myself. It's just so important to take time for yourself and to really evaluate how you're doing mentally. Don't just spend your whole life pleasing other people. Make sure you're happy with yourself as well, and then you'll be able to give your best to those that you love. That enormous bug is still trying to get in. Like, seriously, what's your problem? And I finished my coffee in perfect time. But can you actually believe how structured this video's been? Who is this woman? But that's everything from me today, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it helped some of you, and I hope I answered your questions in the way that you wanted me to. I really put a lot of work into planning this video. Like, I have pages and pages and pages of notes. I just again want to say thank you so much for sending in all your questions. If this video helped you, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. It really helps out my channel, and make sure you subscribe because I'm now uploading every single Wednesday at 6 PM and I don't want you to miss any. Wow. If you know anyone that's just about to get married or is new in a relationship, make sure you share this video with them because some of these tips that I've been talking about, I would have killed for when I was on my own or before we got married. I hope you guys are having the best day. I'm gonna go and open all the windows and the doors because it's like 30 degrees in here and I'm dying. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye!